All right. Good evening, everybody. It is 7 o'clock, and in the interest of everyone's time and getting started on time, I want to welcome all of our attendees and future community middle school families who will have students as sixth graders next year. Welcome to community middle school. My name is Kyle Schimpf, and I'm the principal here. I'll go around the screen so you know who you're looking at as we go through this evening. And then throughout, you'll hear from our assistant principals, Mrs. Singh and Mr. Hamnett, who are here to help us tonight. They'll be keeping an eye on the chat in case there are any questions or items that come up that need additional attention. If you do use the chat feature, for those of you who are attending tonight, please know that you are chatting with us, the hosts and the panelists, not your fellow attendees. So if you have any questions that are good general questions that would be nice to discuss, or anything that crops up as we're going through the specific components of the presentation, please feel free to use that chat feature and we'll try to get back to you as best as we can. And then, of course, we have Ms. Staffieri. Ms. Staffieri is one of our school counselors, currently working with our 8th graders and getting them ready to go across the street to the high school, who will then circle back and be with your 6th grade children next year as their school counselor. And I know she's looking forward to speaking with you a little bit later this evening as well. As we get started, I am going to put in the chat to everyone a link. This link will bring you to the middle school program of studies part of our website, and that is where you will see all of the information you need, including directions on how to do course selection, our actual program of studies, so you can read up on everything, and then additional information about various programs, electives, our PRISM programming, information from our nurses, and things of that nature. Everything's being populated at that one link. It will be sent out again tomorrow, along with the recording of this webinar for anyone who was unable to attend. But again, as you have questions or need to refer back to directions or would like to read more about the program of studies, it is all at that link, and we try to make it as easy as we can for you all. So we'll drop that into the chat every now and then as we go. But without further ado, on Zoom, you can adjust your view settings to make sure that you can see the screen that I am sharing with you, because it is the presentation that we will help guide tonight's orientation. So again, welcome to Community Middle School. It's awesome to be able to start on this slide and show you the new front of Community Middle School. We have changed physically significantly over the last couple of years due to the construction from our referendum projects, and that work will continue through this summer and I'm sure into the very early parts of the school year, but it really has become a great place where we can serve our Panthers, our students, and you all as our families here at Community Middle School. And so this is the part of the evening, had we been in person, where I would say, hey, if you've had a student here at Community Middle School before, please raise your hand. And everyone who has a student would raise their hand. And then I would say to everyone who's brand new to us, take a look around. Please look at the folks who have their hands raised. There are other people, right, who have made it through their child's middle school journey with them and with us. And so if you are new, please know you are not doing this alone. Not only do you have all of us here on staff at Team Community, but you have your friends, your peers, and your neighbors out in our larger West Windsor and Plainsboro communities who will certainly help you navigate middle school, because it is a journey. So a little bit more about me. I'm Kyle Schimpf. I'm the school principal here. I have been at Community Middle School since 2009. I taught 6th grade social studies for 5 years before becoming the assistant principal here at the building. Spent 6 years in that position, 6 really good years as the assistant principal, and then was lucky to be at the right place at the right time when the principal job opened up. And I am really proud to be the principal here at Community Middle School in my 2nd year, albeit amid some pretty challenging and complicated scenarios, but all things considered, my entire career has been here at Community Middle School, and so it is really a second home, as I'm sure my wife and child would tell you, as I'm sure my colleagues would tell you as well. And so I think you will find that me and our entire staff are equally as invested in Community Middle School. We really do operate as a team, and we are very, very proud of the work that we do together. I'd like to turn it over first to Mrs. Singh and then to Mr. Hamnett to introduce themselves this evening.
Good evening. Thank you everyone for joining. And for those who are listening later at the recording, welcome to Community. My name is Sukhpreet Singh. I'm also known as Sonia Singh. Sonia is my nickname. I am in my second year here at Community as an assistant principal. And prior to this, worked in Cherry Hill Public Schools as an assistant principal and as a teacher, a science teacher prior to that. I completely empathize with all of you. I have been through the middle school experience twice, as I have two sons, one who is a freshman in high school and one who's a freshman in college. And I am living proof that this too shall pass. And the middle school years are a little interesting for parents, but we think they're a lot of fun. And so thank you for sharing your children with us. And I'm going to turn this over to Mr. Hamnett.
Good evening. My name is Paul Hamnett. This is my first year at Community Middle School. I've been in district for 22 years. I was at High School South for the first 21, 14 of them as a teacher. I taught mathematics, I taught computers, accounting, robotics, a lot of different things. I was also the swim coach and volleyball coach. Excuse me. And I've been an administrator for 7 years. I've had the fortune to join this team and have really enjoyed my first 9 months. I also have two middle schoolers, so I can relate. I was just downstairs. My wife was remembering that 5th to 6th grade wonder amongst all of you that has a first-time student moving into 6th grade. So we can relate. We're really looking forward to helping you and your student through this journey.
Great, thank you both. And I know we will hear from Ms. Staffieri later in tonight's program, but everybody can say hello to Ms. Staffieri, and those of you who are watching later, she'll be definitely sharing a lot of insight towards the end of our presentation tonight. And I want to thank her and her colleagues who helped us put this presentation together tonight, including some really wonderful videos from current Panthers who are here to kind of explain the nuts and bolts, if you will, the bare basics of their middle school experience and what your child will experience starting next school year. So let's continue. We talked about middle school. It is a journey, that is for certain. But community middle school and middle schools in general, we know we're working with adolescent students. It's a time for major growth. It's a time for a lot of learning. It's a time for a lot of exploration. And it's a time for our students to get to know themselves, to get to know their peer groups, and to try to figure out what they want to do with their educational journey and what might interest them as they continue as adolescents and into young adulthood. We have a welcoming and safe space for everyone. We certainly pride ourselves on the fact that no matter who you are a Panther when you step into our school. You are a part of our team and team community. We, of course, pride ourselves as a district and as a school on having an appropriately rigorous and challenging curricula. I can tell you the academic experience that your child will have here at Community Middle School will be a formative one and a good one, and that spans all of our subject matters and content areas, which we'll dive into in a little bit. And of course, we pride ourselves on building relationships, and you are a part of that as our families, right? You all become a part of team community once your child is enrolled here at CMS. And so we expect and hope that you will continue to be a part of this journey over the 3 years, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. And also we expect that our staff will continue to connect with you and make sure that we're partnering with you as we go through the journey together. I said it before, and I'll say it again. You are not doing this alone. Your child is not doing this alone. And there are plenty of folks that are out to support and ready to help our Panthers make the most of their middle school journey before heading off to high school. It's a good 3 years. It's a long 3 years, but I can tell you it will be by in a blink. So stay involved, stay invested as much as they push away. And I promise here at CMS, they're going to have an excellent, excellent middle school experience. We have at the bottom of this slide some snips, if you will, from our district strategic goals. Whole child, every child, global child. We certainly do leverage the fact that our district has been forward thinking when it comes to the way in which we address all of our students and make sure each of their individual needs are met. We work really, really hard to get them engaged into real life activities and information and spots for action where they are passionate and interested and want to make a difference in the world. Academics is one thing, but we also take care of their social, emotional, behavioral needs. That is an important part of being a young adolescent. So trust that not only in our curricular materials and in the academic classroom experiences they have, but also in the larger school experiences and in those connections we make with you at home, we'll continue to support those social, emotional needs. And throughout, as I mentioned, each and every person is a committed member of Team Community. And we celebrate our diversity, and we are so proud of the fact that we can host and serve such a great community here in WWP. We're going to start hearing from some of our students now. They're going to walk us through the basics of being a CMS Panther. I'll take some time after hearing each of the students to kind of go through some of those basics with you. But without further ado, Kieran's going to kick us off in terms of the day in the life of a Panther.
Welcome to Community Middle School. I was so excited when I started middle school, and I know that you will be too. So me and my friends are going to be showing you a few tips around the school, and showing you around the school, and showing you how much fun we have here every single day.
So as you can see, our kids are really creative and they're really invested in their school, and it makes it really just awesome to work here. So thank you, Kieran, and we're going to thank his peers throughout the night as we go through the day in the life of a Panther. Let's start with the school day.
Our school day begins much earlier than Millstone River and Village. We take our bus approximately at 7 a.m. At first, we dreamed of still being in bed, but we're finally getting used to it. Plus, we've learned to really enjoy sleeping on the weekends.
All right, and thank you for that, Max. Yes, there is an adjustment when it comes to our start time here at the middle school. So your children are probably a little bit more used to a later start at the 3, 4, 5 level at Millstone River Village School, but you can see our hours there. Our second bell, the bell that starts our day, rings at 7:40 a.m., and our dismissal bell rings at 2:45 p.m. As you heard from Max, buses. Yes, your child has a bus to come to school, and we encourage you to utilize that service with the 3 schools here on our campus on Grover's Mill Road. Things do get busy, but we do open community middle school starting at 7:05 in the morning for student drop-off. So if your child is a car rider, please know you can take advantage of an early drop-off. We do have morning supervisors who are available throughout the building, making sure students are where they need to be, doing what they need to be. And in addition to that, we do serve breakfast. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. Bus information will be available in Genesis. And as we move through the summer, you'll get a welcome letter from us with all of the other logistical information you'll need revolving the school day. Let's move into lockers, because I know that that's a big topic. We had that question asked a few different times, and I know our students who have not yet used them might have a little bit of trepidation about them, but trust, it's okay.
One of the most exciting new challenges in middle school is lockers. The first thing we had to do was learn how to open them. Though it was slightly difficult at first, we all figured it out in the first week or so. Teachers were very helpful for this, but if you want to practice on your own, you can get a combination lock and do so in the summer.
We also have to be organized. We have to put our jackets, backpacks, and binders in our locker before class. We have to stay organized to choose a part of the time to get to our lockers to get our items. If we don't, we might be late to class, and the teacher will be like,
We don't have time to go to our lockers between every class because we only have 3 minutes during this time. But don't worry, it can be done.
And they are right, it can be done. The locker certainly is a next step for our students, but it is an important step in terms of their ability to organize their materials, understand that they have a safe place to store their things throughout the day. You certainly can practice at home using any combination lock. Our lockers work in the same way, but please do not feel obligated to do that. We'll talk a little bit later about the fact that we'll have an open house this summer and invite our students in to see the spaces. And as you heard from our students, the teachers will really help. They understand how important this transition is. They'll help our students learn how to use them. plan when to go to their lockers, how to divvy up their day appropriately, and how to keep themselves organized, something I'm sure all of you looking at their bedrooms may be wishing for as well. So again, yes, this is sometimes a source of anxiety, if you will, for our students, but fear not, the lockers will be fine, and our students often have no problem navigating them. All right, next up, let's start talking about the classes that they're going to experience. Again, you can read about this within the program of studies that's available on the website. I'm going to drop that website back in the chat for all of you as well, so you can feel free to link over to it anytime you need. And for those of you watching, it is linked in the email that you will get with this recording. But again, we'll start with our team classes. So let's hear from one of our Panthers.
When you were at Millstone or Village, you were part of a self-contained classroom. Here at middle school, it's different. We belong to a team, which makes us feel like family. I belong to Team 6C. What this means is we pretty much go to classes in the same place of the school, like the concourse or the annex. We also have the same 4 teachers for our 4 main subjects: math, IRLA, which is integrated reading and language arts, science, and social studies.
We also have 2 other classes with our team teachers, Team Extension and WIN. Team Extension is a chance to do a fun activity related to the class. For example, Westlandia. Westlandia is where we create our own civilization, and we can name it anything we want. We do this in social studies. WIN stands for What I Need. It's a chance to start homework, get organized with classmates, or ask teachers or counselors to get help. We can also get a pass to come to our new media center to get books. Isn't this place amazing?
All right, so yes, so your child, when they become a middle schooler, they will leave the kind of self-contained classroom setting, and they will be moving from class to class throughout the day. We'll talk about our schedule and those details in a little bit, but generally speaking, the team concept consists of our 4 content areas: mathematics, integrated reading and language arts, IRLA, science and social studies. But you also heard about Team Extension, which again is an exploratory period within those content areas, and it does rotate throughout the week. So our students have a little bit of additional time in each of those subjects to explore what is being learned in class, to dive into some passion projects with that. You heard, and what a great 6th grade social studies example, right? One that is near and dear to my former teaching heart in terms of creating their own civilization based on what they're learning in class, which is a pretty great opportunity. And then the WIN period, or What I Need period, which occurs for all grade levels. Right now it occurs at the same time for all 3 grade levels. And it's a great opportunity for students to pause, consider what they need for their day, get themselves organized, and utilize that time to get some work accomplished, meet with a teacher, meet with a counselor, whatever the case may be. And so that time is available to each of them every day and will be with one of their team teachers. There is more to our academic program, but I want to take this opportunity to talk a little bit about the schedule. You can see an example of what that schedule looks like. But before we dive into that, let's hear from one of our Panthers.
Every 6th grader has their own individual schedule to follow. You might have classes with one person, but nobody has the exact same schedule as you. This is a sample schedule. We start off with 2 team classes in yellow, where we share classes with kids in our team. Then we have special area classes and lunch and recess, where we see kids from other teams. We have an 8A B day scheduled to rotate through, but it's okay, you'll get the hang of it.
I find that our students get a hold of the schedule well in advance of you, their families, and that's okay. I understand that it does get a little more complicated here at the middle school and does get students prepared for their high school schedule as well, which is a rotate and drop schedule. But as you can see, the students will experience those 4 content area courses, those mathematics, IRLA, social studies, and science courses in a block. So it is an 85-minute block of time where they will work with their teachers in that content area. You can see we work on an A day and a B day. So those contents will change. A day in this sample, this child has IRLA and science, and on the B day, they'll have math and social studies. The cycle classes we'll talk about in a little bit, those rotate differently. They actually happen in 30+ day snips. We'll talk about that in a little bit. That team extension rotates throughout all of those components. We do have then a lunchtime as well. It is a 41-minute lunch period for our students. We'll talk about lunch in a little bit. All of our students will have world language. All of them will take an elective course, and all of them will take physical education, which again, every schedule is unique, but it will happen during one of those blue block periods that you see there. And then you can see that win period at the end of the day. So we're going to dive into what each of those components means. But for now, we wanted you to get a look at what the schedule looks like, knowing that we've covered those 4 content areas and the fact that your child will be on a team. So let's keep moving forward, and we can talk about world languages. Let's hear from our Panther.
World language is our 5th academic class. We have 4 choices for our language: Spanish, French, German, and Chinese. In 6th grade, we learn lots of conversation and culture, so you can't pick a language you already know. It would be boring. It is important to choose wisely, because it will be your language for the next 3 years of middle school.
All right, so yes, that is correct. And we did have a couple of questions, so you'll see Mrs. Singh and Mr. Hamnet answering those questions for everyone in the chat, and I thank them for doing that. When it comes to our world languages, we are really, really lucky. We have a model world language program here in the district. It is one that we are certainly proud of, and one where our students in the middle school start to explore a language that they may be passionate in or may have a desire to learn. We have Spanish, French, German, and Chinese. Of course, in our if the child has continued in Spanish or has been taking Spanish at Millstone or Village, we encourage them to continue in Spanish. However, all of those experiences starting in the 6th grade level are differentiated so that we understand that everyone is a beginner, right? Everyone is treated mostly as a beginner in their language, even those who have a little bit of experience perhaps in Spanish language learning. Those Spanish teachers in 6th grade know exactly how to handle that. They are fully immersive, and they are a required part of a child's schedule. As you heard, the world language that you select will be the language that the child takes, that your student takes throughout their middle school career. You can opt to choose, and your child can opt to choose any of these 4 languages, regardless of the language that they may be taking at the elementary level. So again, all 4 of them are available. And like I said, at the link, which I will drop in the chat again, and it will be in the email that those watching this on recording will get, you actually can get more information from Dr. Ashley Warren, who's our supervisor for world languages. She has a letter in there in regards to making selections and providing more information when it comes to our world languages. We saw in that schedule cycle classes. So let's hear a little bit about what the cycle classes will look like for 6th grade.
Every day we have a cycle class. Each cycle class lasts 8 weeks long. We take 5 different cycle classes. In art, we make sculptures and mix paint colors. In computers, we learn about keyboarding skills and internet safety. In health class, we learn about healthy lifestyles.
In life skills, we do a little bit of cooking, sewing, and talk about bullying prevention. And in music, we get to compose our own pieces of music. Cycle classes give us a chance to try new things and apply new skills.
Cycle classes are a pretty important part of middle school, right? It's our opportunity to expose students to a variety of content areas that may pique their interest or maybe something that they haven't had an experience with yet at the elementary level. For our 6th graders, as you heard, they will all engage in art, computers, health, life skills, and music. And again, this is a chance to explore a variety of different learning activities, and they do vary each year. So the 7th grade cycles are different from 6th grade cycles, and 8th grade cycles different again. So our students will rotate through them throughout their 6th grade career, and then get exposed to even more subjects as they go through their middle school career here in our cycle program. In addition to the cycle program, your children will all have physical education, and then they will be able to select one of the 4 electives you see on the screen. We will dive into that in a little bit, but first let's hear from our Panther.
Welcome to our brand new gym. Isn't it cool? We have physical education every other day, On A day or B day, we each change clothes in the locker rooms where we have special lockers, where we also keep our deodorant. Every day we learn in health class, our bodies are changing and we want to smell fresh.
On the day we don't have gym, we have our elective. 6th graders get one elective. If you want to be part of a music making team, you can choose band, orchestra, or choir. Otherwise, you can choose communication arts, where we become calm, confident, effective speakers. Just so you know, we will get more elective options in 7th and 8th grades.
All right, so let's start with physical education. It does happen every other day. And it does happen on the alternating day with the electives that our Panthers also discussed with us. We do have brand new state-of-the-art facilities for physical education and athletics. We're really, really proud of them, and our teachers are making great use of those spaces already with our students. Students do have access to locker rooms where they can change and make sure that they are prepared for class. That information will be sent again later in the summer, and as we begin the school year, we do ask for our students to make sure that they are wearing appropriate athletic footwear and appropriate athletic clothing for their PE class. And of course, they can change in the locker room as needed if that is not something that they typically would wear to school that day anyway. A little bit of a joke there from Max, but it is true. We are teaching our students at this level that they are changing. And when you do work up a sweat in physical ed, you just need to make sure you are taking care of that as well. So a little bit of a joke there from Max, and our students all get very, very used to phys ed, using their locker room space, and really having a great time, not only doing individual physical activities, but working on teams, which I think is really, really interesting. That again alternates with the electives. For our 6th graders, we have 4 electives available: band, orchestra, and choir, and then a 4th elective with communication arts that spans a variety of different components of communication, such as public speaking, such as debate, such as how do you present information in an interesting way to an audience. So it is a really, really good opportunity for students who perhaps music is not for them, although if they don't know that, I encourage them to try. You can change your elective from year to year. They're elective. You can go ahead and do that. However, if you are interested in moving into the band, orchestra, or choir, it is strongly suggested that you do start in the 6th grade, so that if you choose to continue in 7th and 8th grade, you already have those foundational music skills available to you. Communication arts, of course, is available for anyone who perhaps is not super interested in music. It will be an opportunity for them to continue growing other skills in terms of communication. For the 6th grade year, you get 1 elective. As you move into the 7th grade year, you will have different options, and you will still have 1 elective. And then 2 years from now, when we get to that point, when they're 8th graders, our students will end up having 2 elective choices in their 8th grade year, which again will come from another completely varied set of options for them to look at. So again, there is a lot to explore when it comes to our elective programs throughout their middle school career, but this will get our 6th graders started. Lunch and recess, you've seen some answers to some of the questions that are coming our way. Let's hear a little bit about lunch and recess, and then we can expand on that from there.
Ask any 6th grader their favorite part of the day, and the answer is more likely to be lunch. We have 40 minutes for lunch. We eat in the lunchroom, or sometimes called the commons. We have 20 minutes for lunch and 20 minutes for recess. We could eat anywhere we want with our friends.
And we have recess. It's 20 minutes and it's a chance to relax, talk to our friends, and make new ones. When the weather is nice, we get to play outside. Here at CMS, 2 teams eat lunch while the other 2 have recess. Then afterwards, we switch.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about lunch and recess. So lunch is served by grade level. Currently, and as described by our Panthers in that video, we do split the grade levels by team, where 2 teams are in our commons eating while 2 teams are out at recess, and then we switch them back. So the other 2 teams come in and eat, and the other 2 teams who had eaten go outside for recess. We have continued that practice as a result of our need to maintain, to the best of our ability, social distancing during these times. However, part of our construction project has been to expand our commons. So we have a commons and an extended commons. And in that extended commons, we also have additional food service lines. So it is our ultimate goal to have the entire grade level report to the commons and extended commons at the same time, sit with their peers at that grade level, regardless of team, have their lunch, and then open up the recess doors for those who would like to go outside for recess at that time. It is all supervised by a variety of staff members. And so it really is, as you heard, a really fun time, a good time for our students to connect with their peers in a non-academic setting, another opportunity for them to kind of take a break and refuel for the rest of their day. And again, I'm very hopeful that as we open next school year with your sixth graders, they will all be able to eat together as a grade level, and then we can have the option for recess for anyone who would like to take that on. But we are really glad to have these really excellent spaces now to serve our students and to host our food services program. Okay, we're going to dive into a little bit in terms of, hey, life as a Panther, right? Those are the courses we're going to experience. That's a little taste of the schedule, but there's a lot more that we said goes into this middle school experience. And that includes being a self-directed learner, one of the goals we want for our children. So let's hear about that.
In middle school, we are learning to manage technology and expectations responsibly. We use our Chromebooks and Google Classroom every day. It gets tricky with all our different classes, but our teachers help us manage our homework and studies. We do get grades on our report cards this year, so it is important to regularly check Genesis to stay on top of our assignments and grades. Checking Genesis using emails and calendars and asking for help are good habits to become self-directed learners.
Again, we're teaching life skills, right? Executive functioning skills, organizational skills, all of those things are a part of what we want for the middle school experience for our Panthers. Some of that starts with our one-to-one devices. So yes, each of our students will have Chromebooks issued to them. They are from the district, and we ask them to keep it, obviously, keep them safe and keep them for school-related purposes, and they do a really good job of that. A lot of our teachers are utilizing Google Classroom to help communicate, to post assignments, to create access for students and things of that nature. You have a Genesis account, your student has Genesis access should they need it as well. They're also given a www.prsd.org email account so that they can communicate with their teachers and vice versa. And a lot of them are using Google Calendar and Google Keep to organize themselves, to keep information at the top of their mind, to schedule their homework when it's due, to remind themselves of when assessment is due, and etc. That's a lot of access. However, yes, that access is limited. So at the middle level, the access to Chromebooks is available from 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. However, in the times outside of that, when they should be sleeping and resting up for the next day, their devices will not work. They will not be able to access their device during that time. In addition, we do have very good filtering and security measures in place to make sure our students can only get to things that we would need them to get to for educational purposes. Trust that Mrs. Singh, Mr. Hamnett, and I, as well as the teachers, are utilizing those filters and systems to make sure that our students are staying safe when they're out there on the internet, but also to make sure that we're guiding them in terms of being digital citizens out there in the world. This is not to say that our staff, especially now that we are back in person, are not utilizing paper. Because of course they are, because in certain circumstances, the digital components don't necessarily work. The last piece of this is the fact that your child, as they move through their middle school career, should continue to work on being advocates for themselves. They should ask questions to their teachers when they're not sure what to do. They should ask for help from their counselor, case manager, assistant principal, or principal when they need that kind of help. And of course, if they're not quite there yet, You are that outlet for them sometimes at home. So please do not hesitate to reach out to us via email or whatever the case may be when you have a question or when your student trips up on something and needs a little bit of help. We're more than happy to be here, but we do encourage our students to be self-directed, and we encourage them to be advocates for themselves as well. I see a lot of questions about sports. We will get there. Trust, a lot of questions about sports. It is a part of our presentation, so we will get there. And thank you to Mrs. Singh and Mr. Hamden for answering the questions that are coming through. Speaking of, how about that? Extracurricular activities and athletics. We'll hear a little bit about that. I will expand on it, but first let's hear from our Panthers.
A really fun part of middle school is the after-school activities. There are many opportunities for students to become involved. We have clubs like Gourmet Club and Student Council, or intramural sports like flag football that meet once a week. And there are activities like the school play and the Science Olympiad that meet multiple times of the year. So, how do you learn about how to join school activities? Listen to the daily announcements and check your email often.
We also have amazing team sports in the fall, winter, and spring. For fall, 6th graders can try out for cross country and field hockey. Then, later we will even have more choices. Most sports meet every day for the season. The school provides a late bus for transportation home after all after-school activities. How do you sign up for sports? Parents, this is your job. You need to register in the Genesis Parent Portal, so check your email often too.
So yes, we post all of our extracurricular opportunities throughout the year using our daily announcements, but we also make sure we direct mail to our students and to you so that you understand when your child has those opportunities to register for things that they might be interested in after school. We have a ton of different clubs. They span a lot of different subjects and a lot of different activities, and they're all really, really fun and engaging. So we really do try to have something for everyone, and we really do across the fall and the spring, because there are different opportunities for both and repeat opportunities during both of those seasons for clubs. Try to make sure that all of our students get an opportunity to do something after school. And I can tell you, in my time as an assistant principal and now as principal over those 8 years, we have, to a student, been able to get every single person involved in something after school if that's what they wanted to get involved in. So it is a great opportunity for your student to do something beyond the school day. We do have late busing at 4:15 and at 5:30, the 5:30 busing primarily for our athletic teams. Everything is advised by a staff member who, of course, communicates with those folks and their club folks in terms of when we're meeting, what they're meeting about, and all of those kinds of things. So please be on the lookout. For all of you who are looking for athletic registration, you haven't missed it. It has not started yet for the incoming 6th graders. So don't worry, you haven't missed it. Mrs. Dobinson and Mr. Riley, our athletic director and assistant athletic director, will put all of the information out there when it comes to what is available for all grade levels and what is needed to register your children for sports. That will include the Genesis registration, but importantly, it also includes an up-to-date physical. A little bit of a pro tip. If you get that physical done in May, the physical is good for a full year from that calendar appointment, from that date. And as a result, it would allow your child to be eligible from a physical and medical perspective through all 3 seasons, fall, winter, and spring. You can see the list of everything that we have available in terms of interscholastic athletics and sports there on the screen. So I'm seeing do we have other things? At this time, we do not. Of course, I encourage you to reach out to our athletic directors if there are things that you're looking for, but that's not to say we don't have other opportunities in clubs. For example, Zumba, which is currently a club that our students do engage in. If you are an athlete, you can only do one sport per season. But yes, you can do a sport in all 3 seasons. So if you wanted to run cross country and then be a cheerleader and then play softball, you can go ahead and do that. The clubs do vary from year to year, and that is primarily because we let our students, in some cases, drive what those club opportunities will be. Sometimes they come up with great ideas, they find an advisor who's willing to do it, and we're willing to pilot that opportunity. And it's why we've grown such a robust extracurricular kind of menu for our students. So there are a large variety. They do differ from year to year. So I will ask that everybody wait on some of that information when it comes to the fall clubs and other offerings. We promise, come late September, early October, once we've gotten everybody settled into the school year, we will start advertising all of those opportunities, start having students sign up for what they'd like to sign up for, and informing you of what's available to them when it comes to our extracurricular activities and our athletics. So I hope that that helps answer some of those questions. And again, this is really an awesome opportunity once you start to get to the middle school and then beyond at the high school to engage in school beyond our typical school day. So it wouldn't be the end of this student portion, if you will, of our digital tour of community middle school for our incoming sixth graders if we didn't talk about our Panther Pause and send you off with our students. So let's hear one last time from our Panthers.
A tour of CMS would not be complete without a trip to our Panther Pause room. Here in Panther Pause, we need a moment to just catch our breath and refocus. We are so lucky to have this room for taking breaks and refocusing. We really hope that you have a good idea of a typical day for sixth graders. We really do have a lot of fun here.
Welcome to CMS!
Awesome. Let me say out loud so that it can be recorded for everyone as well. Thank you to our students for using their voices and sharing with us tonight their experiences so that you could learn a little bit about community middle school. It really is an awesome place to work and an awesome place to be a student, and we look forward to having your sixth grader join us. There are a few more components that we will go through tonight, so bear with us. And we did see a question in regards to a recording of this. Yes, there will be a recording of this. It's being recorded, and it will be sent out to all of the families who, even if you attended, you will get a recording of this webinar. But I'm going to put in the chat one more time, and it'll be in the email. This is the website to the program of studies at the middle school. It includes a ton of information related to not only the curricular components of the day, but all of the other components in terms of some of the questions that you had, which Ms. Staffier will address momentarily in terms of, okay, so now what? How do we get that all situated? I promise we will get there. I want to talk a little bit about the way in which we as community middle school will continue to connect with you, the families, this being our first opportunity to do so with you. But we will have a back to school night in September. So you will be able to, in one format or another, meet your child's teachers and see the instructional spaces. I'm very, very hopeful that we will be having those in person so you can experience community middle school here on grounds. More information will come as we get to that point of the school year in late September. Please do make sure that you are paying close attention to Genesis, to your email as well, because that is where the majority of information will be sent to you and stored for you. So Genesis for things like grades and attendance, and you can communicate back in terms of attendance with that as well, but also email. The district sends information that is applicable to the district. You might be seeing those in our Friday health and safety updates and things of that nature. But every Friday, Community Middle School, partnering with our PTSA as well, will send a parent newsletter that is fresh every week with new information. Students do have access to their email account. They do have access to Genesis as well. And you can find out all of that information on how to get your child set up or how to get yourself set up using our district website. Every day we post a daily announcement Google Doc. We try to keep everyone on the cutting edge of what's happening here at CMS, students and families alike. We do encourage our students to bookmark those announcements so that they can go into them every day. But we also have news programs, our Wake Up Community program and positive news programs that help highlight some of the bigger things each morning during our morning announcements and during attendance in the morning as well. We will also connect with you in parent-teacher conferences. Parent-teacher conferences are a little bit different here at the middle school than they are at the elementary school. They are teacher-driven, so teachers will invite families to meet at 2 times throughout the year, once in October and once in February, if I'm remembering correctly. However, at any time, if you've got questions for your child's teacher or a staff member here, you can email anyone at firstname.lastname@wwprsd.org. and we will get back to you. In addition, the district hosts a number of parent universities on a variety of topics. I encourage you to dive into those. And so as you see those come out, there are a lot of really good topics when it comes to the middle school and what our adolescents are experiencing out in the world. So it is a really another good outlet from the district to you to make sure that we, again, keep you informed and keep you working with us as we navigate the adolescent journey here at the middle school. And then, of course, and we'll talk about these each in a little bit, we have parent organizations that partner with us. We have our PTSA, Parent Teacher Student Association. We have our SEPTSA, our Special Education Parent Teacher Student Association. And as a district, we work with the AAPSG, the African American Parent Support Group. Each of these groups supports our school, but also supports the district and our students in a variety of different ways with programming and informational sessions. And so I encourage you to connect with each of those groups as you move into the middle school to keep those school and home connections strong. Here's the slide information when it comes to the PTSA. They are a not-for-profit organization. They help plan and coordinate and fund a lot of the things that happen here at CMS, and we are really glad to have them as a resource, supporting us and supporting our Panthers. If you want more information, they have a website and an email address that you can see on the screen there, and I encourage you to become a member of the PTSA, and I encourage your students to become a member of the PTSA, which is their first opportunity to do this and to be a part of the organization themselves. As I mentioned, we partner with our AAPSG. It has been around since 1985, and it has been a good partner for the district. Everyone is welcome and encouraged to participate. You can see their website, email address, and social accounts here on the slide. So again, please, I encourage you to get connected with the AAPSG. And then if you do have a student with special needs, a student who's being served through an IEP, our SEPTA, the SEPTSA, Special Education PTSA, works with all families across all of the schools, including here at CMS. You can, of course, visit their website, wwp-septa.org, for more information. Want to talk a little bit on behalf of our 2 school nurses. We are lucky to have with us Ms. Michelle Decker and Mrs. Sherry Nelson, who work with us day in and day out, keeping our folks safe, keeping our school as healthy as possible. They've been doing an incredible job throughout this pandemic, doing everything that we need them to do to keep us as safe and healthy as humanly possible. I have still on the screen here on the slides components when it comes to COVID-19. Masking being one of those components, as you know, currently at the 612 level, considering the current Cali scores in our regions, we are mask optional at this point at the middle school. I won't predict the future. I wish I could, but I can't. But that said, we will continue to use layered mitigation strategies that are listed in our district health and safety updates to do everything we can to keep community middle school a safe and healthy place for all of our students. For those of you who have students coming to the middle school after their 10th birthday and on/around their 11th birthday, you need the Tdap and Menoctra vaccines. So you need those vaccines. Your children need to have them. There is information at the website that I've been putting in the chat, and I'll do so again, directly from our nurses in regards to those immunizations. And They also have information listed in terms of the different forms that are available to you that may be of import for your family or for your child. If you go to departments and health services, you can see all of those forms that are available, and please make sure you get those things in. If you have questions, don't hesitate to reach out to our nurses in that letter that is posted to the site that I have been putting in the chat. And again, will be in the email for those of you watching this on recording. All of that information has been shared by our nurses and will continue to be shared with you as we gear up to have your child begin with us in September. I want to talk a little bit about special services. We do serve a number of students who have IEPs, and we are very lucky to have a great staff, special education staff and child study team staff. We do have 4 members of our child study team: Ashley McCurt, Dr. Yaros, Erica Moret, and Michelle Fisher, 2 of our school psychologists, our school social worker, and our learning consultant, our LDTC. But that's in addition to, of course, all of our special educators, our speech and language therapists, physical therapists, occupational therapists, and other specialists. So again, if you do have a student who's joining us and is served through an IEP, we are ready to support and ready to make sure that they get the most out of their educational experience here at Community Middle School as well. And then we have our counseling team, and we have a wonderful group of Community Middle School counselors. Mrs. Ellen Burgess, who next year will be with the 7th grade. She's with the current 6th grade now. Mrs. Faith Sabinski, who's with our 7th grade now, will move on to our 8th grade. You can see that they track with the students. And we do have an anti-bullying specialist and student assistance counselor, Miss Evstathios, and she is, again, a wonderful part of our counseling team and a great asset here to Community Middle School, to all of our families and students. But of course, and highlighted here on the screen and joining us this evening, we have Miss Monique Staffieri, who is currently wrapping up with our 8th grade and will continue to do so throughout the rest of this year, but will be cycling down to join you and your children in the 6th grade. So without further ado, Miss Staffieri, I turn it over to you.
Hello, good evening. On behalf of the guidance department, welcome. As Mr. Shemp had said, I am the current 8th grade counselor, and I'll be your child's 6th grade counselor until 8th grade. So I'm their mom away from home. At CMS, we are more than a name, we are a family. And since we're a family, I wanted to tell you a little bit about myself. I have been a school counselor for 4 years, and I have been at CMS for 3. I incorporate more than mental health in my day by living a healthy lifestyle. I like to cook, I ride my Peloton, and I recently took up tennis. So what is a middle schooler? Middle schoolers are stuck right in the middle where they're learning, growing, and evolving. So I encourage you all to allow your child to go through these years of growth with exploration. They can do that by exploring new activities outside of school, getting involved here at CMS, and trying different electives of their choice. So what's my role here? I help students, family, and teachers navigate middle school. I help to create schedules and I assign lockers. So just as we saw in the video earlier, I am the one person, and along with the teachers, to help them learn how to use their locker. I provide individual guidance, group sessions, lessons on social emotional learning, and along with my colleagues, we create special programs for not only students, but parents as well. If there is a social emotional concern, I can connect with your child, or I can provide resources for you for outside of school. One thing I've learned that is in middle school, it is beneficial to be a part of the team. Everyone on this webinar has been together for a long time. So I encourage you all to support each other and we can help to support you so that we can help to balance the responsibilities. 3 tips I have is communicate, right? Don't wait. Be active in our community. So we encourage you to get involved. Just as Mr. Schimpf has mentioned, we have a PTSA. We offer coffee with the principals on a regular basis. And I encourage you to talk with your neighbors. It is going to be a new experience for your 6th grader to balance school and social life. So it is important for you to learn from others going through the same. For the 3rd tip, have perspective. With learning, growing, and evolving, there sometimes can be drama. All right, on this slide, as mentioned, we have, I want you to look out for an email from Miss Barbara Gould. She's going to be sending out an email that'll explain the portal will be open to assign classes for next year from March 24th, which is tomorrow, until April 7th. Sixth graders will be choosing a world language. They'll select one, and this will be their choice for the next 3 years. In sixth grade, they only have one elective, so please make a first and second choice. They will have the opportunity to choose again in seventh grade. If you have any questions up until September, please feel free to reach out to your current school counselor. They'll be able to answer any questions you have. And until then, thank you, and I'll see you in September.
Thank you, Ms. Staffieri. I will give Ms. Staffieri some cover. As you can imagine, the end of the 8th grade year is an extremely busy one. So if you do have specific questions that are best directed to a counselor, I will direct those questions to your student's current school counselor at Millstone and at Village, or current case manager if they are being served by a case manager. I'm sure they'll be able to answer your questions. As I've repeated multiple times now, and I just put in the chat again, and it will be in the email for those watching on the recording, the program of studies, middle school program of studies page has all of the directions that you will need over the next couple of days to do course selection, world language, and elective selections in the Genesis parent portal. I saw the question earlier, and I think we did answer it. None of this is first come, first serve. We will not be scheduling any classes, in the immediate future. So you have the entirety of that window to read through all of the materials, to have conversations with your child's current teacher, counselor, case manager, if you have those kinds of questions or need that kind of input. And then you also have the opportunity to have those conversations with your child. What language might you wish to explore? What elective do you think you want to try? All of those kinds of things will help inform that work that you will put into Genesis that will allow us to create the schedules that we discussed earlier in the program. So again, that starts tomorrow and goes all the way through April 7th. So there's plenty of time. There will be an email following this. It's already gone out to those of you who might maybe have rising 7th graders and rising 8th graders already here at the middle school. So for all of you who have rising 6th graders coming to community middle school, you'll receive that information. It will include this recording. It will include that program of studies page, and it will link to all of the directions that you need to make sure that you are getting your child's world language choice and elective choices. You'll put a first and a second choice in for that into the Genesis parent portal. Okay. So that said, it's been a wonderful hour. I appreciate the fact that you took out the time to hear from us, to get to meet us in certain cases for the first time, and to make sure that you have a little bit of information as to what to expect here at the middle school. It's a journey that we love. It's a journey that we love to take with you and with your children. And we really, really can't wait to see them in September. Really, it'll be August at our open house. More information to follow, and hopefully get to see you as well and get to meet you here on our grounds where we can show off our wonderful school and talk to you even more about all of the incredible things that your children will experience across their middle school career, not just in the 6th grade. The student opportunities in the summer, the open house in August, all of that information is TBD. We will make sure it gets out to you as you are planning for your summers. The open house does include a school tour, absolutely. So we want to make sure that we're getting all of those details together for you. And again, if you have questions that perhaps didn't get answered, are not on that webpage with all of that information, please talk with your current 5th grade school counselor and or case manager for your student. They can direct you accordingly from there. I will put one more time for everyone in the chat the link to the middle school program of studies page. That will bring you again to the full program of studies, as well as plenty of additional resources and directions to help you in Genesis. It's all there for you. So on behalf of Ms. Singh, Mr. Hamnett, Ms. Staffieri, who joined us this evening, and all of Team Community, I wish you all an excellent night. I hope that you and your children have an excellent finish to their 5th grade year, and we look forward to welcoming you as Panthers to Team Community in the very near future. Take care and stay well.